Hey everybody, how's it going? Jesus Ramirez here from the Photoshop Training Channel. This is my second YouTube Live. The last time that I was here with you was roughly 2 weeks ago, maybe three now, when I was getting ready for my trip to Sydney, Australia. So I'm thinking about doing more of these Facebook or YouTube Live videos. The format, it's a little unclear yet, but I think I want to start making videos where I answer your questions, maybe look over some of your composites and give you my opinion, and then always show you one Photoshop trick, and also maybe give you an update as to what is going on with me um, and the Photoshop Training Channel. So I can see some people are starting to show up to this live stream. So hey everybody, thank you for watching. Before we actually get started with the Photoshop tip that I intend on showing you, which is what this is, this crate and this background, I kind of want to give you a little update as to what is going on with me and the things that I've been doing recently and the things that I'm about to do. So I actually have this to show you. So this is the Adobe Make It website. This is the conference that I was a part of in Sydney, Australia. It's found at makeitapac.adobe.com, and you can actually watch all the sessions, including mine. So if you're interested about what I talked about in Sydney, this is where you can check it out. So you can click on Watch Now, and you can watch everybody's session, not just mine. My session is found under creative imaging, I believe. Yeah, photography and creative imaging, and here it is. It's a session I did on Photoshop, Adobe Stock, Project Felix, and Fuse CC, which is sort of what my last YouTube live video was about. So it's that same topic, so you can check that out. Also, don't forget to watch everybody else's presentations, like Julianne Kotz from Adobe. She's always great. My friends Karen Alsop, my friend Mark Heaps. He's in here somewhere. There he is, Mark Heaps, and my friend Teresa Jackson. I was a TA for her session, so you can actually see me walking around and helping students in Teresa's session. But anyway, if you're interested in that conference, check out the website. It's makeitapac.adobe.com. You can watch the videos for free, and they're actually YouTube videos. So if you click on my video, you'll notice that a YouTube video comes up, and there it is. That's my session. I'm going to fast forward just a little bit so you can see the style. Unfortunately, you see me talking and you see the screen up on top, so you really can't see what I'm clicking on. So that's the downside of it, but you can get a general idea of what I'm doing and what I'm talking about. So yeah, check those out. Also talking about conferences, I'm going to be speaking at Pluralsight Live in Salt Lake City, Utah in September, and this is going to be a really interesting talk for me. Michelle Obama is going to be the main speaker there, and we're going to have other people like Steve Young and all these awesome people. To be honest with you, I have no idea why I'm here. I'm not teaching Photoshop. I'm going to be doing a session on graphic design and where I think it's going. So essentially emerging trends for graphic design and creativity. So it's going to be a 30-minute talk, so no Photoshop. So that's a little worrying for me because I'm so used to talking about Photoshop at every conference that I do. But in this specific one, I will not be doing Photoshop. I'll just be doing a TED Talk style type of conversation on design. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. So that's going to be next month, September 19th to the 21st in Salt Lake City, Utah. And the other thing I want to talk to you guys about is the Adobe Max conference that I'll be speaking at in October. This one, I am going to be doing Photoshop stuff. I have 5 sessions. So if you're going to be at Adobe Max, then you'll be able to check those out. 3 of my sessions will be recorded and published on the Adobe website, much like it was for the Adobe Make It. 2 of them will not because of the way they're set up. So yeah, so I'll be here and you'll see all these wonderful people. Some of you may know Corey Barker, Dave Cross, Lisa Carney. One of my best friends, Glenn Dewis, is going to be there. So yeah, a whole bunch of people. There I am. And again, my good friend Mark Heaps, I believe, is speaking in one of these other tracks. I forget which one, but yeah, check him out. You've seen him around. If you follow me on Facebook and Twitter and all that, he's the guy that's always traveling with me. But anyway, so those are the things that I'll be doing that are coming up for me. So if you are attending any of these conferences, then feel free to come up and say hello. I got an opportunity to meet several people in Sydney, so that was really cool. So thank you for those of you who support my channel and who come up and say hi when when I'm at conferences. I really appreciate that. So let me see if there's anything else I want to talk to you about before I start with the Photoshop tip that I have for you today. Oh yeah, one thing is I'll be traveling to Togo, Africa next Wednesday. So that will be my first time in Togo and my first time in the African continent. So that's really exciting. I'm going there for a friend's wedding. So if anybody's watching from Togo, let me know. I see actually somebody says, hi, Richard from Nigeria. So yeah, I'm not going to Nigeria, but I'd love to visit. And I guess I'll take this time to look at the comments you guys are leaving. So maybe I can answer something now. How do you add layers on top of each other on Photoshop? Just a new layer, click on the new layer icon. If it's a different image you're trying to bring in, file in place. Hi from Australia. Yeah, oh man, I loved Australia. It was probably one of the best countries I've been to. I could really move there. I really liked it. Wow, what are the core concepts starting editing in Photoshop? Layers is probably number one. And thank you for answering Harley Davison, layers and add new. Thank you. Richard from Nigeria. Explain how to do your best black and white photos. So I have a video on that on my YouTube channel. You could check it out. It's maybe about 2 months old now, so check that out. Somebody said Michelle Obama. Okay, bye. I'm out. Hey, nice. Have fun in Togo, mate. Oh, thanks so much. Hi from Morocco. Hey, how's it going? But anyway, yeah. So those are the things that are going on now, and I'll show you the tip that I have for you today. So like I said, I'm planning on doing these live videos where I can show you a Photoshop tip, and then maybe through my newsletter, I'm not sure how, I'm going to start collecting some of your composites and designs, and I can talk about them if you want to on these live feeds so that you can get my opinion, my 2 cents for what it's worth. And yeah, so if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, then let me know, and I'm sign up for my newsletter, and then you can submit, and I'll let you know how you can submit stuff. And I haven't planned that out. I'll probably start doing that after my trip to Africa. But anyway, so I have one tip for you today, which is compositing tip. So we have a very simple background here, which is a parking lot, and we have this crate, and we want to composite that crate into this scene. One of the biggest things is, if you've been watching my YouTube channel, when it comes to compositing, is getting the perspective right. If you get the perspective right, then everything else falls into place. If I wanted to place this crate here, we can tell that it really doesn't belong, and that is because the perspective is off. So how can I tell that the perspective is off? Well, first of all, you need to know where the horizon line is. You need to know where this ground plane meets the sky, and it's really easy to do. All you have to do is follow the converging lines in your scene and see where that is. So here we have all these lines on the ground, and I just clicked on the line tool, and I'm making these lines, just following the converging lines. See how I'm just following these converging lines? And right here where they cross, that is the vanishing point, and that's where the horizon line is. So now, notice that if I create a line from that center point, all the lines in the scene match that point. That's because that's where the horizon line is. So my horizon line is right about here. So that's my horizon line right there. So, and actually I'll delete all the other layers. So just keep that one layer there, which is the horizon line. If I open up my crate, you'll see that the crate does not follow the same perspective. If I start making lines and adjusting the crate, oops, sorry about that. If I start making these lines and follow the perspective of the crate, you'll see that the horizon line for the crate is somewhere up here. I'm not going to take the time to do that. I already know that, and I'm just letting you know that it's right up there. So that's why this crate is not matching the scene. So how do we make sure that we match the perspective of the crate and match it onto the scene? Well, Photoshop has a great tool for matching perspective, especially for items like this that are mechanical. It doesn't work that well for people or organic things, but for buildings, boxes, cars, trains, it works great. So I have this layer selected, which is, by the way, a smart object. Then I'm going to go into Edit, Perspective Warp, and now I can create this grid around the faces of this box. So I'm just going to try to match the perspective of that box. I'm going to create another face here and match those corners. And notice that blue highlight, it'll snap. Then I'll do the top, and I can just snap the corners here. and then adjust that far corner. So there we go. So now I have a grid that is in perspective with that crate. Then I can click on the warp button and watch what happens. I can start warping this crate so that it matches the perspective of this scene. So I can also click on these 3 vertical lines. It straightens those lines. And I can now adjust this crate to match. So obviously I'm going pretty quickly here, but you'll get the idea. So there it is, and maybe move it up even higher. Something like that. And when I'm done, I can just click on this check mark and notice that I've changed the perspective of this crate to match this scene. If I click on this eye icon, you'll see the before and the after. So that is a quick tip for you so that you can match the perspective of items to the perspective of the scene and make them belong. Obviously, this compositing job is not done. I will need to match the lighting. I will need to match, maybe add some shadows, some contact shadows on the bottom and do all sorts of things. But notice that just by adjusting the perspective, this looks so much more realistic. So that's before and after. And obviously, if we maybe... Oh, I'll show you a trick. I just thought about this. So this is one way that I like creating shadows. So I like to create a new exposure adjustment layer, bring down the exposure, and then on the layer mask, just press Control I, Command I on the Mac to invert, and then just paint. And I'm going to use my Wacom tablet here and just paint with the brush tool. And that's a huge brush. Let me decrease the size. Just paint, the shadows. Obviously, I'm going very quickly here and I'm not being very precise, but you get the idea. So something like that. So now I'm adding these contact shadows. But anyway, that's my tip for the day, how to use the perspective warp tool. So that's before and after. So if you think I should keep making more of these quick little, Photoshop tips, then I get to talk to you. I get to show you what I'm up to and maybe answer your questions. And as I said, if you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, subscribe now so that when I decide to start doing my critiques, you can submit and I can talk about them live on screen. And by the way, I just thought about this compositing trick. Some of you may know. If you let me find that under my premium tutorials. If you purchase my Compositing Made Easy course, I talk about it there. So that's where it is. But yeah, let me see if you guys, I haven't been looking at the questions, so let me check out the questions and see what you're all asking. Give me 1 second. Okay, bye, I'm out. Oh yeah, the Obama thing, that's so funny. Hi, I'm from Morocco. Hello, Netherlands. Hi, Netherlands. Okay, so the question is, are there any jobs that you do for people and editing them on Photoshop? What do you charge? I actually do not. I very rarely take freelance jobs. Well, I shouldn't say rarely. I'm very selective with the clients that I have. So currently I'm doing 2 freelance jobs, but they're for Adobe and Microsoft, and I'm not taking any more freelance jobs. Awesome tip. Thanks. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, so let me know if you guys have any questions. Oh, somebody said another question. Okay, so actually this is a really, really good question, and I'm glad this person asked it. And I can't really read their name. It's in Arabic, I believe, so I cannot read Arabic, but I'll answer your question. It says, Anas from Syria. My question of the topic is how to be a great expert like you in short time. The key in that question is short time. I don't think it's a realistic thing to become an expert in anything in a short time. I think you have to practice a lot no matter what you're trying to achieve, whether it's Photoshop or a sport or anything, really. Anything that requires a skill requires a lot of work, a lot of practice. So to become a great expert, you have to make a lot of mistakes and just work really, 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 really hard. I've read, I don't even know how many books, but if I had to guess, 50 or more books on Photoshop. I've watched thousands of hours worth of videos. I've read thousands of articles online, and I've done thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of work in Photoshop. So, it's definitely not easy and it takes a long time. Photoshop Elements has perspective work where I don't know if it does. I don't think so. It's my assumption that it does not. I only use the professional version of Photoshop. I've never used Photoshop Elements, so I cannot tell you what it has or where it has it. Hi, this is amazing. Thank you, Cams05. So yeah, so if you guys don't have any other questions, then I guess we'll end this now. But if you have any more questions, let me know. And again, subscribe to my newsletter. If you don't know how to do that, you can go into my website, photoshoptrainingchannel.com, or the short URL, ptcvids.com. And right here, you can just enter your email and I'll send you an email notification every time I put up a new tutorial. And as I said, once I start doing my reviews or my critiques, I don't like that word critiques because I don't really, my opinions. When I start giving you my opinions on on your work, then I'll show you how to submit it, and we'll do one of these live sessions where we'll just talk about your composites and your work. Somebody said, am I the real Jesus Christ? The answer is yes. Yes, I am. And remember, I'm always watching, so keep the hands above the desk. I think Photoshop is only a tool. It's all about who uses it. So you agree with this? Well, yeah, I mean, of course, Photoshop's only a tool. Yeah, and it may not be the only tool. There might be other tools that you would prefer to use for different things. So yeah, it's only a tool. It's like a pencil. Tips for shooting assets, place, etc. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I think your name is Michael. Yeah, I don't know what you mean by that, Michael. Okay, so Raja, that's a really, really complex question. How to make an object look like it belongs in a picture? Well, we just showed a tip on perspective, so that's number one, perspective. Lighting will be a second thing. And oh, look, there's Colin from Photoshop Cafe. Hey, Colin. He's here to heckle me, I'm sure. So by the way, that's for those of you in the chat, you can check out Colin's YouTube channel, Photoshop Cafe. He's a good friend of mine. Good guy, great videos on his channel, Photoshop Cafe. You can just go and watch his stuff. I use Photoshop for website mockups only. He wrote, Colin wrote, yes, I am about something I said. Yeah. All right, so yeah, so I hope that you enjoy that tip. Once again, don't forget to check out my presentation at the Adobe Make It conference. There it is, makeitapac.adobe.com, and I'm under the creative imaging section, so somewhere right down here. There you go, photography and creative imaging. And don't forget to check me out at Adobe Max in October and at Pluralsight Live in Salt Lake City, which is coming up. It's coming up in, oh, here we go, 31 days. Yeah, so check it out. Somebody said they would like to see a more detailed tutorial about perspective. So I already have one. It's one of my oldest tutorials on YouTube. So let me, I was going to show, so I'll answer your question and I'll talk about this. I just remember something else. So if you go to my website, you can just type in on the search bar, perspective, and I know it'll come up. There it is. Not that one, this one here, the secrets to creating amazing composites, perspective and vanishing point. So that's a detailed tutorial on perspective. And also I have an even more detailed video on my compositing course that I showed you earlier. The one thing that I forgot to mention that I wanted to talk to you guys about is I'm creating this video playlist on YouTube. And so far I have 3 videos. They're all on content aware, the different content aware technologies available in different tools in Photoshop. So far I have 3, as I said, but I'm going to be creating more. So check them out. You can just go into my YouTube channel, under playlist, just look for the Photoshop content aware and you'll check those out. The one I posted, I think a day ago, was the content aware scale. So I know some of you saw that. Do you build website templates with Photoshop? Not anymore. I used to do that a lot. I used to be a web developer and designer for many years. I don't really do it that often anymore, but yes, the short answer is yes. Okay, so this question is interesting. I have one problem in using Photoshop if I'm using Photoshop for a specific technique, I see many different approaches to that technique. How someone would come over that? How would come over that? I mean, just use a technique that makes sense to you. You can do Photoshop is it's so vast, and you can do the same thing in so many different ways. I would just do it the way that makes most sense to you. Yeah, I'm not really sure if you have any more specific question on that, but yeah, I mean, just do it the way that it makes the most sense. All right, guys. Well, again, thanks again for watching, for spending 20 or so minutes with me. I hope that you enjoyed the tip. If you have any more comments or questions, then leave them below this video. This will become an actual video on my YouTube channel starting as soon as I end it, I assume. So if you have any more questions, I can answer them there, or you could reply any of the emails that I send out from my newsletter. I reply those as well. So thank you again so much for watching, and I'll talk to you at the next Photoshop tutorial, or at the next conference, or at the next YouTube live video. Oh, actually, just one last thing. I just remembered. Sorry, guys. For those of you that speak Spanish, I have a new YouTube channel. It's my it's called Videos PTC. So basically the same YouTube videos that you see in English, but in Spanish. They're not all there. Only a selection of them. At one point, I would release both on the same day, but we're not there yet. But for now, if you speak Spanish, we have these videos there. All right. Thanks so much, and greeting. Oh, somebody from Jordan. I was invited to go to Jordan last year, and I couldn't go, and I'm so disappointed. I want to go. But anyway, thank you guys. I'll talk to you later.